What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Skull and Bones yet again. And this time, I want to talk about that the game absolutely needs to come out. I want to talk about a couple other things, why I believe that it's basically just been pushed too many times. I think this game needs to kind of cut its losses and just release. And I'll explain exactly what I mean with all of this, because the first thing that probably comes to people's minds are, you're saying a game that constantly is getting delayed, you want the game to come out before it's ready. I generally, when a game gets delayed, I will generally say, keep pushing it, push it as long as you need to, as long as the game comes out and it's in a better condition than it would have, you've made the right choice, right? There's kind of the generic but true statements that everybody kind of makes when games get delayed. But can a game get delayed too many times? Does a game literally, honestly have to accept its fate at some point and just release? I do believe the answer is yes. It is a case-by-case basis. It is not a general thing where I'm saying, after 3 delays, that's it. You have to have the game come out. You can't have a 4th delay. But specifically talking about Skull and Bones, you got to talk about how it's perceived in the public as well, right? So you have the game that gets announced, right? E3 of 2017. I was so pumped. And I've covered the game on and off, but I've covered it ever since E3 of 2017. And here we are now, and it, whether it be them officially saying it or in Ubisoft's, fiscal quarters, they'll talk about it being delayed. It's been delayed, I believe, 6 times now, okay? So, do you keep delaying it? Do you keep pushing it and saying the age-old thing where it's like, well, as long as it comes out, and it's not ready right now, so if it comes out later and it is ready, well, the delay was worth it. But will this game ever get to the point where it's ready to come out? That would be my question to those that would say that. And this is, I think and I feel that I am pretty different than other people that talk about Skull and Bones, because I'm not looking at it just from I want this thing to fail perspective. I've been somewhat rooting for this game, that I hope there's some little tidbit of awesomeness in this game. I love pirates. I want a Pirates of the Caribbean open world RPG. It's my dream game. I think a game like this could work. Now, not having, sword combat, not having boarding actually only be cutscenes. They took out a lot of the pirating in a Pirates game. It's just the ship stuff. So, with all that being said, I just want to kind of make that clear. I don't want this game to fail, but I'm also kind of a realist, and I know that this game, at best, is going to be a very average game. I don't think this game is going to live up to what Ubisoft wants. This is not a game that I think is going to stick around for years to come. I guess we sometimes see kind of live right before our eyes, games kind of turn the corner, and games survive when you wouldn't think so, or a good comeback story, No Man's Sky, Star Wars Battlefront 2. Now, you don't necessarily want a good comeback story, because that means that you had to come back. That means that there was some massive, blunder in the beginning of it. So is it impossible for Skull and Bones to eventually kind of just snap into place, right? All the pieces are there and they can't put it together. It's a puzzle they can't figure out, and then it just snaps in. Is that possible? You can't give it a 0%. I can't give it a 0%, but I'm willing to give it as close to that as humanly possible. And again, almost jump the gun, I suppose, and say just release this game. So one of the other elements, and I mean, of course, I think we all kind of know this, but it's important to kind of see it. The game has not ever really been received all that well, right? Besides maybe the very first time we saw it. And maybe because they showed it, E3 2017, and I think they showed 24 minutes of gameplay that year. But then maybe it was delayed. I don't remember if it was supposed to come out or whatever. But I do remember the next year they were back and they did another, and it was a really good trailer. But then you started to get information of what this game was, and then you started to hear what wasn't in this game. And so I guess from that point on, there was a large amount, including myself, either disappointed or flat out hate, or, they weren't going to buy it, whatever. You had a lot of the internet, seemingly, against them. Well, how does that kind of take place? Well, you see it on Twitter, you see it all over the place, but even right now, when they do these developer, diaries, when they have these 30-minute, which I give them a lot of respect for, constantly showing it. I saw a lot of the comments of it that people genuinely feel bad for these developers. And I think that's also kind of important to say, that I think they're trying as hard as they can. It's hard to imagine they don't know what's going on. They can't see that overwhelmingly people are not, fully, whether it be fully or they're just not at all, people are not into the game, right? I think they know that, So props to them for well, I guess they kind of have to, but like they put on their smiley faces and they do these, sit downs. They do these 30-minute kind of gameplay presentations, and they try to make the game as appealing as possible. Now, again, like, I will play this game. I will get this game. But what's important is, as we've seen these delays, you look at the comments, you look at the likes to dislikes on YouTube, and they're awful. It's about 1 to 4. Every one like gets about 4 dislikes. And so the last, I think it's Below Deck, in the last one they did, had a decent amount of views, but I think it was somewhere around 1,000, maybe it was like 1,100 likes to about 4,200 dislikes. So again, about around 1 to 4. It's clear everywhere. It's clear everywhere that people are not into it. And I guess we don't know the reasoning for the delay, right? Because the thing now is there's a difference between delay, and I think this is important to say. There's a difference between delaying a game because you do believe it's going to get better over, with that delay, and you've heard fan reception, and you're going to try to inject some of that. Like, there are some changes you have to make, right? There's a difference between that, which, sometimes you do it because you literally you had the date too early and you literally need more time, but sometimes you delay it for literally those reasons. For Skull and Bones, and I think this is kind of clear, so I'll just say it, and you guys can tell me if I'm right or wrong. It feels like the last couple, maybe the last 2 or so, delays have been almost for no reason, almost just because they're afraid to release the game. For me, for coming at it, again, not from like just a flat-out hater, one of the only people online that I've ever seen that's not like a paid-off kind of personality that wants to give this game at least some sort of chance, right? Coming from me, I've gotten the sense that they know that this game is not going to land because they see the metrics everywhere, and they're trying to delay it just, again, magically maybe they'll make it all fit together. I don't think they're delaying the game to provide some sort of massive injection or overhaul, and that's the thing, right? There was even the time, the game was supposed to come out, I think, in like October, November, got delayed till March, now it's delayed again. But before that, before the fall one, let's say, wasn't the game gone for like forever? It was gone for like a year or so. And there was talk that the game was making good progress and all this stuff, but the game had disappeared for so long, it got people somewhat excited that maybe because it was gone for so long, obviously there were like the 4 other delays, but maybe they were trying to add the stuff that people really wanted. And the issue is, with all of these delays, at least from some, but like, I've covered it for almost 6 years, but I don't look at every single, small detail. I'm not fully in the know. I'll admit that. But from somebody kind of on the outside, but also somebody that does routinely pay attention, it's never looked like this game has changed. So all these delays, you could say, well, come out when you're ready. But what does that mean? If the game is not even changing with these delays, what are they changing with these delays? I guess I'm asking. And I'm sure there are changes, but again, to a simpleton, to somebody like me, somebody who just looks at it, somebody that is trying to give it a chance more than others, what has been the reason that you've delayed it all these times? Even this next time, right? It was supposed to come out in March. Now it's coming out God knows when. Why? What is the reason? To me, flat out, cutting through the BS, it feels like you're just afraid to put the game out there. It's ready. And it's ready in the sense that there's nothing more you can do with it. I know it took me, let's look at the time. It took me a long time to get to kind of that statement. But I really feel like that's the ticket. That's the thing. There's nothing more they can do with it. But they kind of want to try, but they can't. They literally can't, but maybe they'll try to sell you on it. I don't know. It's sad. Like, it's really sad. It's sad to see these developers do this. I don't know who's making the decisions of delaying and all this stuff. But again, the center point of this video, I think truly it is time you cut your losses and you just put it out there. The game, bearing a miracle, is not going to change enough to have this magical switch. Not just like putting these puzzle pieces together, I keep doing the analogy, but online, these people that the 1 to 4 ratio, the people overwhelmingly on social media that really aren't into it, what is going to be the thing that has them change their mind? I know what the thing is. it's really probably kind of almost restarting, really injecting everything about Black Flag, which means the sword combat, exploration, really making a pirate. I say Pirates of the Caribbean, like the Disney property, but pirates, making it that. They can't do that. Like it's too far gone. Like they literally can't. So you're stuck with what you have, and it just feels like they're afraid to release that pack. I mean, I get why, but like nothing's going to change. You have to do it. And that's where I'm at. Like I feel sad for them. I know maybe I say it jokingly, I want the game. I just want the game to come out. Like, let's get it over with. If the game is bad, and people may lose their jobs over this, studios may be shut down. Like, who knows? I mean, there could be really bad consequences, especially when you put this much time, this much money, and then the game, God knows how much money it's going to make you back. But, like, nothing's going to change at this point. It's not. So just release what you have and pray that it's enough and go from there. Again, like, comeback stories exist and stuff, but if you can't add sword combat over the last, like, 5 years, you're not going to add that in, like, Season 2 of Skull and Bones. You know what I mean? Like, season passes or whatever. You're not going to, or seasonal updates. You're not going to do it. Like, maybe you have the Kraken and stuff that you could add, but you know what I mean? So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on, and I'll see you all on the next one.